Well, we've got a bit of a problem at the moment because the autopilot keeps playing up. I keep getting MOT stall, i.e. motor stall, motor stopped messages, and we start swinging around all over the place. I try and get us back into standby auto and eventually get us under control, pointing in the right direction, and it holds that for a little bit and then it decides to give up again. So we've had that happen several times. It's 7 o'clock in the morning at the moment, and just gone dawn. We've just gained an hour, so what was 6 o'clock previously has become 7 o'clock now. And very overcast skies, total cloud cover, very little wind, 5 knots from the north. And so I'm just having to sit here at the chart table waiting for the autopilot to play up again. And well, fortunately, as I'm playing with the buttons, I'm getting it back under control, but there's no telling how long that's going to last, which is a little bit unfortunate. We still have a good distance to go to our next waypoint, which is where we're going to be anchoring, I hope, tonight. Looking at the distances involved, I realised that we were going to get to Bahia Magdalena around midnight, which is not a time that you want to come into somewhere to try to anchor, especially in the dark, no lights, no buoys, very deserted, remote place. So I decided that the best thing to do was to get to Santa Maria, which is a big bay to the northwest of Bahia Santa Magdalena, and stay there the night. I reckoned I could get to there, and then the next day, tomorrow, that would mean we'd be able to get into Bahia Magdalena, have a little look around, and then continue on our way. So that's the present plan. It does rather depend on the autopilot remaining helpful. Otherwise it means that yours truly has to sit at the wheel, solidly steering. So we'll see how it goes. I'm just sitting here, as I say, at the chart table, waiting to see how long we can stay on course. At least I've got my track showing how we actually compare with the line leading to the bearing leading to the waypoint that we're headed for, so I can play about with the autopilot, assuming that it will respond and work okay. That's a big if. Okay, so for the moment we're keeping going, but I'm just waiting for that beep, beep, beep. A rather murky looking day today, with the total overcast and very little wind, just after dawn. A little bit of pink in the sky there, but looking ahead, the other way, looking towards the Baja itself, not seeing anything because we're at a distance out. It's a grey mix, sea and sky. Well, it's just gone 8:30 in the morning, and the autopilot keeps going off. It keeps showing me MOT stored. The autopilot gives up steering the boat, and the boat starts trying to go round in a circle. If I'm quick enough, I can get us into standby and then back into auto, and it seems to be responding to that, so then I get us quickly back on course. But in order to do that, I've got to be sitting here at the chart table all the time, because it's going off pretty regularly, and I'm just wondering whether maybe there's some hydraulic fluid perhaps is got a bit low. I won't have a chance to investigate until I get in this evening. I'm hoping at sunset to drop the anchor or soon after. But in the meantime, I've actually been on the radio talking to my radio friends on the 7155 group, which is good fun this time in the morning. Several of them I've met, others I haven't, but I've talked to fairly regularly. So we have a group get together and a bit of a chit chat, which is quite good, very sociable. So that's the story at the moment. What are we? 8:45 local time. As I said earlier, I've had to push my clock forward an hour to be in kind of Arizona time now, instead of being in Pacific Standard Time. So we're looking at just gone 2 o'clock in the afternoon and we're a few hours away from our destination. But I went along to the chain locker just to check it out and open it up, make sure everything was ready for when we wanted to anchor in a short while. And very sad to see this poor storm petrel right below the forestay. Neck seems to be pretty broken, so I just wonder whether somehow in the night it flew into the forestay, because there's no sign of blood or any other damage. Very sad. Let me just turn it over, because interestingly underneath the bird is all white. So here we have the wing, the wings here, and anchoring in Bahia Santa Maria. Hopefully it's likely to be just gone sunset when we get there. I'll be lucky if I have any light to see by, but it is a wide open bay and a very easy place to anchor in, even in the dark, even in the pitch black. So hopefully that will work out fine. It's just coming through to 4 o'clock now, and still a very dull day, a little bit of broken cloud but mostly overcast. And we can see quite clearly now the mountains around Bahia Magdalena, and to this side of which is the Bahia Santa Maria that we're going to go into, hopefully before it gets too dark, to anchor. We're still 15 miles away, so even at 6.5 knots, that's still going to be 2.5 hours, and from 4 through to 6:30, we're almost certainly going to be in darkness by the time we go to drop the anchor. But that shouldn't be a problem here, because it's such a wide open bay and the anchoring should be pretty straightforward. Anyway, that's the plan, and we can see that the sea is pretty calm. I saw about 3 knots of wind from the southwest a short while ago. We're not getting much wind at all again. I thought the wind would have picked up by now, but so far not. I suppose actually with the overcast sky, the heating effect on the land is going to be way diminished. So that's probably why that stronger wind didn't turn up. Here we are coming in towards Bahia Santa Maria, and this that was the autopilot deciding to misbehave again. So I've just hopefully got us back on path, but that's a bit of a nuisance. It just went down a moment ago as well, so that's twice in quick succession that it's decided to misbehave. I've kept it off track actually. I've just had it on auto because that seemed to help, and it has been behaving most of the afternoon. And now suddenly, twice in quick succession, as I say, it gave up. It's very useful using the track of using the tracker on our path to show me what's going on, to make sure that we are actually headed where we think we're headed. That works out pretty well. The sun is trying to get out actually, so it's become quite pleasant. The sun was shining on that hillside a moment ago. Now it's gone behind the cloud, but very rugged mountains, typical of the Baja. So many rugged mountains. After sunset, and the bay is actually surrounded by some quite low sand dunes, but it's protected by the sand dunes inside the bay. Not that there's any wind at the moment, but if the wind does get up, then there'll be no fetch. So can maybe see now the line of rocks on this side of the land bordering Bahia Santa Maria. Quite a rocky outside. So obviously we don't want to go too close too soon. Point Lazarus is on the very edge, southwest point, at the entrance to the wide open bay. So we're making for that so we can turn around and head northeast. One mile off Punta San Lazaro at the entrance to the bay. It'll be fairly obvious, I think, when we get there, because you'll have the rocks on this side, and then on the inside there are rocks as well. So, you know, when you're at the point, you can see quite clearly where everything is. The sun there, there's no way that's going to be setting in 15 minutes or less. So I think I just gained an hour with the clock change, the phone and the everything's getting confused. I'm certainly getting confused, and we've still got another good hour of daylight, which is absolutely brilliant news. We're getting close, we're not quite close enough. My hope is that in the morning, if I can get up around dawn, get going by dawn, or maybe even before if it's light enough, I can get along to Bahia Magdalena when the whales are really busy sorting themselves out. I mean, in the morning around dawn, the last time I was here, they were just everywhere, very, very active, beginning their feeding. So I'm hoping that if I can get up early enough and get going early enough towards Bahia Magdalena, the same thing will happen again. It will be really nice if I can see a load of whales around in the bay there. That's good. I think I can see the Punta San Lazaro is quite clearly in that area there, and we'll give it a little bit longer and then we'll turn up more. We're about to turn up, not just yet. I want to make sure we're well past that point, San Lazaro, but not far now. We are coming inside the bay now, and we've got a good depth, 60 feet, 20 meters roughly, and we just keep going a little bit further in, and then we can top look. The bay is so big, just amazingly big, very deceptive. We were clearly going to lose the sunset in the west as we came into the bay, and so this was the nearest we got to it. So here we are, finally at anchor. Very peaceful, very quiet, very little wind, bit of no swell because it comes from the west normally, and we were protected from the west. And around sunset, so really lovely sky colouring, and looking out towards the edge of the bay, which is also the edge of Bahia Magdalena because they're adjacent to each other. So a very, very pleasant evening, and I was very happy that we actually managed to get here in daylight. I had actually increased our speed over the afternoon in the hope of getting here earlier, and clearly that worked out brilliantly, worked out really, really well. Very happy with that.